It's been over 18 years since Fire Emblem Path of Radiance first released for the GameCube. Why is it a grail item and is it even a good game? Fire Emblem has been around for a long time, but I feel like the height of its popularity is right now. The first game in the series for a non-handheld console in the US arrived in the form of Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I kind of played this back in the day, taking turns with my cousin, but I've actually haven't experienced this game on my own how it's supposed to be. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance is a turn-based strategy game where you command your characters on the battlefield to defeat the enemy. Think of it as Pokemon mixed with chess. The chess comes in because each character can only move a certain amount of squares per turn, and the Pokemon comes in the form of the triangle, which I'll get to in a second. The story touches on racism, politics, and good old-fashioned good versus evil. Our main character, Ike, which you've probably heard before, he's excited to fight in his father's band of mercenaries. While on a mission in Crimea, Ike rescues a woman from a Dane patrol. Crimea and Dane, along with 5 other nations, form what is known as the Tellius continent. Anyway, the woman they rescued turns out to be Princess Elincia Crimea, who barely escaped the Dane invasion into Crimea. So now Ike and his father get hired by Princess Elincia to take her safely to Gallia, a Laguz nation. Laguz are animal shapeshifters. Bjork are what are known as humans in this world. And these two don't really get along. So you will travel across all of these nations, recruiting more members to your crew with hopes to get Princess Elincia back on her throne. That was the sparkly version, because I know if I tell you that this is a turn-based game about politics and you read a ton, it might not persuade you to play them. Now back to the gameplay, chess meets Pokemon. Just in case you have no idea how this works, like I said, each character can move a certain amount of spaces and attack accordingly depending on their weapon. The classic weapon triangle is axe beats lances, lances beat swords, and swords beats axes. On the magic side, fire over wind, wind over thunder, and thunder over fire. There are other mechanics like arrows over flying enemies, fire over Laguz, and more further down the game, tons of different weapons with different effects come into play. Mages and healers are essential as well, with different staffs that heal. They can heal from afar, boost defense resistance to a certain type of thing, and much more. Managing all of this is part of the fun. There are different ways of winning each chapter. You don't just win by killing everyone and that's it. There are conditions you must follow in order to win. Seizing is you win by seizing the boss's spot with Ike. Routing the enemies means you kill them all. Defend, you just have to defend for a set amount of turns. Arrive is another one where any member that arrives to a certain spot ends the level, and this keeps the gameplay different and on your toes. Before attacking, these numbers here help you see what could happen before the fight, giving you the necessary stats to make a decision. With the damage, hit rate, chances of getting a critical hit, and stuff like that, when you do decide to attack, the fight animation will play out the fight. It doesn't matter how many times I play, getting a critical hit is just so dope and satisfying. After you fight, you get awarded and level up. Certain characters will have the chance to move up on classes once they reach level 20 and they will evolve. Yeah, I'm really trying to keep this whole Pokemon theme here going. But they will just change classes and giving them a new look and ability to wield different weapons. I feel like leveling up is the main way you bond with these characters, similar to how you do in Pokemon. Due to the time and effort you put into them to level up and grind, of course you establish favorites along the way, and you even neglect some characters because you really can't use them all. Also, having them produce in very pivotal moments in the battle helps becoming favorites. Sending a tank on one side of the map to take care of everyone on that side can be cool, but it can hinder your weaker allies to level up. It's all these decisions that are up in play that makes the gameplay pretty addicting. There are a total of 46 characters you can recruit, but I think you can only use a max at 20 at one point. So it kind of sucks when you get a better character than some of the ones you've been interested, but they're just too weak, so you just go for the more powerful one. But so many characters offer you different ways to play. Each character, while having similarities, they still feel unique to themselves, and that's very important. Grinding and leveling up a certain character to see them become their final form is very satisfying. But let me know how you play. Any strategies, favorite characters, anything at all, let me know down in the comments. I really enjoy this series, so let's just talk about it. The one catch throughout the series, and I feel it's what separates it from the other franchise, is the permadeath mechanic, where if you lose a character on the field, that's it. You're dead. You won't be able to use them no more. There's so many characters though that it would be tough for you to run out of them, but I personally hate losing anyone. So no matter how far in I am in a level, if one dies, I reset and try again. What can be tough is the recruiting. In some chapters, you'll be facing the possible recruit, and to make them an ally, you must talk to them. The tough part is figuring out who needs to talk to them to recruit them. Since you pick your units before the battle, if the right person isn't out there and you don't talk to them with them, well, you won't get them. Sometimes it's super simple, like it's a guy with pink hair and he says, oh, my sister, so it's the girl with pink hair. Other times the obvious move isn't it. And other times it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at all. But I mean, we have Google for that, of course. The talking doesn't just occur on the battlefield. Most of it happens at base when you're managing. At base, you can trade items between characters. You can do this on the field as well. You can also award extra XP to help with development, teach new skills, buy stuff, forge weapons. A ton of managing takes place. And this is the main spot for characters to talk to each other. Sometimes those conversations lead to an interesting item or weapon, and others just leave you with a fun quip. This is where you get the personality of each character and get to really know them. Yo, what the hell is my guy holding? Is that a turd? I never understood what this is. Oh, well. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of reading. There are cutscenes. I think there are around 8 cutscenes in a 30+ hour game, and the movement on the cutscenes are really fluid and still hold up. This is also the first Fire Emblem game to feature voice acting, and I can tell it isn't great. It's almost a good thing that you read 90% of the story. What is great is the music, of course. They did a great job in setting the mood perfectly. It never becomes repetitively annoying. It's like a perfect background music. This is also the first 3D Fire Emblem, and while the battle animations are cool and tension building, halfway through I did shut them off, just to move things a little bit faster. When a critical hit is done when you shut it off, you glow a bit, and I still felt the effects work even without the animations. It's just very slow gameplay, so I did this just to move things along a little bit. I don't feel like I missed anything at all. It is also very rewarding gameplay. You can easily spend over an hour per chapter, but you're so engaged that it goes by so fast because it's just addictive. The model graphics were never groundbreaking or anything on the GameCube, but they have the effect they did the first time I played it. I think they still hold up. This game is considered a grail item for anyone collecting GameCubes because it's so expensive. What makes it so expensive is that it didn't sell too great in the US when it released. And it also releasing towards the end of the console cycle didn't help. So not only due to its rarity, but also the popularity the franchise developed afterwards. Also, the fact that there wasn't an entry for the Wii U also boosted its price. No, I'm not counting you. I still don't even know what the hell you are. But unlike some games that prices skyrocket due to scarcity, or because it's the last of a series, or simply because it's rare, Fire Emblem, on top of being all of those things, is also a very good game, and you should definitely play it if you can. I consider it the king of turn-based strategy games. Mothers may disagree, but feel free to yell at me down in the comments. Oh, it's a squirrel.